A zombie apocalypse? How is this even possible?
Don't worry, I'm an expert.
I've seen your videos on YouTube!
This is 10 best tips for the zombie apocalypse.
Number 10. Assessing the damage. Zombies are running rampant, so what do? It really depends on where you are and what you have around you. The first thing you want to do is get your bearings. Are zombies able to access the area that you're in? If so, you need to move. If not, then connect to a radio station or even a news program if it's still on air. Try to get as many facts about the outbreak as possible. Some main bits of info you'll want to listen out for are: where did the outbreak occur? How fast and far is it spreading? The symptoms of these zombies, and, most importantly, what is the infected's turnaround time? Which means how long does a person have from the moment they were bitten to the moment they start coming for your flesh? Another super important thing you'll need to find the answer to is how to kill zombies in the first place. We as a culture have been led to believe that if you destroy the zombie's brain, then they actually die and you're good to go. Since there actually hasn't been a zombie outbreak, we don't actually know if this is a true thing or not. But one way or another, you'll need to figure out a way to destroy these demons, so figure it out sooner rather than later. It's usually best to plan for these things ahead of time, so that you aren't running around like a chicken with its head cut off when the time comes. Regardless of whatever plan you're creating at this point, make sure you give yourself an option B, C, and D, just in case plan A doesn't pan out. Number 9. Immediate protection. Protecting yourself is a must during troubling times like these. However, choosing your protection really depends on where you find yourself when the moment strikes. If you're not at home, just out and about, then you need to find or create a secure room within that building to keep you safe while planning your next move. If you cannot secure a room for whatever reason, try to push aside a ceiling tile and climb onto the ceiling itself. If you're at home and you're trying to make a stand, you need to find reinforcement supplies. You can be as dedicated as to go to a hardware store like Home Depot or Lowe's and get a truck full of wood planks, some shovels, tarps, and things like that. If you're lucky enough to score those supplies, then get to work boarding up windows, reinforcing doors, digging out a massive trench that surrounds your house, and hang up the tarps in hopes of collecting rainwater. If you aren't able to make it to the store, raid your neighbor's place or the apartment complex next door. If they have things like bookcases, dressers, closet doors, or anything else useful, raid and take. They won't miss it. Don't forget that protecting yourself means more than just the place you choose to sleep. It means the clothing choices you choose too. The outfits that you'll want to lean towards are jeans, long socks and tennis shoes, a long shirt, and a leather jacket. Having long sleeves and patent legs may be annoying during the summer months, but the length can potentially protect you from a bite, and of course, the cold. And definitely a leather jacket for the style. Make sure your shoes are comfy. Chances are, they'll be the last ones you'll ever wear. Number 8. Establishing a bag. Having a bug-out bag is critical for your survival. The best thing about this tip is that you can have your entire bag paid for and packed before the apocalypse hits. Make sure you start with a sturdy backpack. You wouldn't want the strap to break on you. Try to shoot for a backpack that was designed for a backpacker or a hiker. They're durable and have ample room for all of your stuff. Have essential things packed, like a mess kit to eat and cook food with, a set of clothes, a life straw if you can get your hands on one, first aid supplies, high-calorie bars, a fire starter, a mini sewing kit, a utility knife, and some sort of rope. The best thing about your bug-out bag is that you can customize it however you want. You are putting it together after all. Make sure to think about everything you do every day. If you're not cool with wiping your butt with a handful of leaves, you might pack a roll of toilet paper, just to give yourself a little more luxury. You can find tons of really cool gadgets to make your life a little more comfortable. Just go search survival gear on Amazon. Come and choose the items you'd want to survive with. Just think of it as camping forever.
This is getting out of hand!
During a time like this, you need a weapon you can rely on. Get the fork out of here. Number 7. Find a weapon. Needing a weapon during a time like this is a no-brainer. Chances are you probably don't have a military-grade arsenal in your home that you can rely on when the dead start walking around. That being the case, you need to have some options within your home that you can grab at a moment's notice. In order to completely exterminate a zombie, you must aim for the head. The best household item for you to grab would be a big sharp knife, more like a chef's knife than a butcher's knife. Also, as far as weapons go, if you have a gun, a baseball bat, a crowbar, anything like that, make sure to bring them just in case. Make sure you have a real sturdy melee weapon like a baseball bat, a sledgehammer, or a slicing weapon like a machete or a katana. Don't always rely on weapons such as guns though, since the noise of firing off ammunition will attract more zombies. The best ranged weapons you should consider adding to your arsenal are crossbows with plenty of bolts, and any silenced firearm. An advantage with the crossbows is that the bolts can be fired more than once, unlike firearm ammunition. Choose your weapons carefully, train regularly, and maybe you'll make it out of the apocalypse as a survivor.
Number 6. Food and water. Food and water are necessary for survival. That's been proven time and time again. However, finding these things can prove to be a challenge if you don't know what you're doing. If you can't find traditional sources of food and water, like from your home or the grocery store, then you might need to start thinking outside of the box. Almost anywhere, if you dig down deep enough, water will pool in from the ground around the hole, and you'll have water. That's how wells are made. If that's not an option for you, then figure out how to get outside to hang up a tarp to catch rainwater. Think outside the box. If you're in need of food, consider eating the bugs that come out at night. They're supposed to be very high in protein. You can try to find some edible plants. Or if you were at all prepared, you could have your own self-sustaining garden. If worse comes to worse, you can always choose one of the group to eat for survival purposes. Although at that point, would you be any better than a zombie? Number 5. Find or create shelter. After you've completed a few of the other necessities like clothing, food, water, and weapons, you'll need some place to go. If you're close enough to your house and you can reasonably fortify the place, go for it. If you're out and about in town, then let's go over a few options. Whatever you do, avoid places like hospitals, government buildings, police stations, and even grocery stores. Either the place is overrun by the infected, or there are too many sick people that are turning into the infected, or simply too many scared and panicked people, which always leads to disaster. If you have a strong group, you should head to an apartment complex. You need to clear out the building before you try and settle in, but the buildings are set up for several groups to live in them at once. If you're by yourself, you need to establish someplace that you can easily access from the outside, for escape, or to get supplies, and someplace that you can hide in case the building gets overrun by the living, or the dead. Try for an attic or something of the sort where you can control the entrance and the exit. Have you heard those stories where bums are found living in the ceilings of super Walmarts for years? That's the ideal you want to have. If you plan far enough in advance, you can order one of those really cool fallout bunkers that get buried in your backyard. Number 4. Transportation. At some point, you're probably going to need to get from one place to another, safely. You may need more ammo, different supplies, or maybe you just need to move. Regardless of why you're moving, you'll need a reliable form of transportation to get from point A to point B. If worse comes to worst, you can always find a bicycle to quickly carry you and some stuff around in a pinch. Of course, with that option, you don't have any protection, but you also don't need any fuel to power the thing. If you're able to make one work, you should try to find a service vehicle. You can modify a simple piece of machinery like this jet snowblower you see in this picture to help you reach your final destination. If you were a genius like me, you can see that if you blew fire out of this machine, it would roast any zombies in your path. If you plan ahead and are resourceful, like me, you can create the most tricked out zombie transportation squad on the planet. Number 3. Dealing with what's left over. I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to be the only living person left on the planet. Those people that have survived the apocalypse might not be nice, friendly people. Like me. They might just want to kill you and take the things you have. You couldn't really blame them, they're just trying to survive too. While you can't put the blame on them, you can certainly watch for them to make sure that you don't end up on the wrong side of Negan in the everyone else relationship. If you see groups of scavengers roaming about, keep your distance and observe. If you had the chance to follow them for some while, you might decide to show yourself if you feel like they are good people and that you could benefit from having a relationship with them. Friends with benefits. If you can get something out of it and it's safe, go out and introduce yourself. If they look sketchy, chances are, they are. So stay hidden and far away. If they are evil and camped out in front of your shelter, you'll probably have to kill them. But that's why you have a good weapon by this point, right? Dealing with the riffraff that's left over is something Rick and his crew deal with every other episode of The Walking Dead. Number 2. Getting ready to rebuild. This is the time that you need to start thinking in the long terms. Find a place you know you and your group can secure for the long run. Start planting crops and create yourself a food supply. Make long-term plans and then make one last-ditch plan in case this place fails. If you're crafty enough, build windmills to harness energy. Start a library and learn as much as you possibly can. You never know when that bit of knowledge could be the very thing that saves your life. Eventually, you'll have to think about repopulating the world. But that's not a conversation you just want to spring on a person. So wait a while before you start demanding to procreate. Number 1. Always remain alert. It doesn't matter if the last zombie you saw was a month, a year, or even 5 years ago, never let your guard down. Even if you believe wholeheartedly that the world is okay now, you're probably wrong. Don't ever forget your plans. Don't ever stop trying to provide for yourself and create long-term plans that will help ensure your survival and the survival of those that follow in your footsteps. No matter what, keep your eyes open and both hands on your gun. You've seen enough zombie movies to know how this could end.
Hey guys, check out my channel, American Eye, for more crazy zombie videos like this.
For better.